all you're going to have to do every week at noon on Saturdays is go to thefiredance.com and it'll get you in. Just thefiredance.com. And we will explore whether or not that's working the way I want. We were talking about quiet quitting. People talking about not doing the work that they were, the not doing their best while they're at the job. I think that your attitude needs to be to either get out of that job or get into it. That you don't want to practice being less than the best you can do. Once you start practicing that, it's hard to quit. It's addictive to just kind of get by. And that's exactly what will keep you stuck. So, there are other attitudes one can have, of course, but that is mine, genuinely. There are other attitudes one. Okay, hi. And welcome to Firedance. We are going as soon as I start recording. There we go. Record on this. Hi, welcome to Firedance. Steve Barnes here, and we are not at home right now. We are in an Airbnb. I'm going to move my laptop so you can see the view. Are you coming online, Steve?
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
That is our view.
Looks a lot better than the dirty beach here in Texas.
Hi to people. That's my daughter, Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
Yes, and there's the grand puppy. And we are having our family vacation. Jason is still asleep. Family vacation, just family. So you know how I feel about you guys, because I am including you in what's going on here. And life is good in that sense. I had some old friends over yesterday, and we were talking about life and the universe and everything, and that was really, really good. We will get into that and some other things, but first, why don't you unmute yourselves and everybody say hi.
Hello,
everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Say hello to everybody.
Hi.
Good to see. It's good to see all the usuals and the ones that aren't so usual.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody. So, one of the things I like to do is to, when I wake up in the morning, before I get out of bed, I do my first breathing exercise, just for at least a minute. Always, never get out of bed and into life without doing that. By the way, Tananarive will be on as soon as she's ordered us lunch. So she is being good baby. And this morning, so sometimes I like to stay there and say, I'm not going to get out of bed until I know what it is and I'm going to talk to people about today. So I will go through my various mentors, see if they have anything they want to say. I'll connect with the little Stevie, ancient child, and see if little Stevie wants to say anything. Sometimes he does. I will take whatever my major goals are and run them through the magic formula first. And you want to have that memorized. If somebody wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and says, what's the magic formula? That you should be able to mumble out what those 5 steps are and why they're important, okay? After you've got that, the next thing you want to do, and that's your white, yellow, orange belt stuff, to get yourself to the point where you have unconscious competence at the basics of your craft. You cannot write until you can touch type. As long as you're wondering where the keys are, you're never going to get into flow state. The same thing is true of music. The same thing is true of so many other things. There is a body of understanding you have to have, an unconscious competency to be able to do it automatically before it begins, before you start being able to play jazz with it, before you're able to improvise, before you're able to jam with another musician or sing with somebody else. One of the things that's beautiful about the blessing dance that Tananarive and I do every morning is that we have to listen to each other. When we're singing, "You are my beloved, I open my heart to you," I have to listen to her and I have to find a way to blend our voices. And if that isn't a wonderful metaphor for a relationship, I don't know what is. So the ability to sing, could I do that if I was simultaneously wondering what the words were? No. Wondering what I was supposed to do next? No. There are certain things you have to have at unconscious competence, determine what those things are, and overlearn them until you know them under stress, because that's the path of mastery, to be able to do under pressure and spontaneously create under pressure as if you had all the time in the world to think about it. And, every martial artist knows that there are times when you do something in the heat of combat and the heat of the exchange, and if you see a video on it later on, it's like, wow, how did I pull that off? How did I know that opening was going to be there? It's just the unconscious competence of it. There's nothing, nothing spooky about it, really. It's just there's the part of our brains that sort of counts up from zero, and there's another part of our brain that seems to count down from infinity. That you might call it the male, masculine, and feminine aspect of what it is that we are. I don't care, but both of those parts need to be engaged if you're going to get everything. So I was doing that this morning, and I realized that in one way, one of the best things I could do is talk about that white belt stuff. I mean, we talk about Think and Grow Rich. That's up there around the brown belt, black belt level. The first thing is to get the basics integrated. The most basic thing is the breathing, is the connection with your physical. Without that, it's very easy to float away. And when one of my teachers, actually more than one of my teachers, made the comment that, you can awaken the Kundalini from the root up or from the heart out, but never from the top down. And just over the last couple of days, I've talked to a couple of people who were listening to different sutras and following different paths. And by their own admission, their lives are nightmares. Their lives are nightmares. People constantly taking advantage of them. They give themselves away. They're always tired. They're always broke, but they're spiritually righteous. And all I could think of was, I'm glad you have no children, because your children would be suffering for your mistake. And if you're right, if it is correct that you're supposed to awaken the upper chakras and head straight for spirit without anchoring yourself, then those people should be childless, because children deserve to be protected. Let me see what I need to do here for a second to, I need to do participants. And where is Tananadu? Tananadu Reeves, as I call her. Oh, there she is. More. And I'm making her the co-host. Make Tananadu do the co-host. Great. So now she's the co-host, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. So what I did, what I'm trying to do, when we did the 6 steps of life writing for writers, writing is a very artificial process in many ways. And by talking to people who had mastered the most basic step of that process, how do you get to the point of selling a story, I was able to come up with a 6-step process that has not failed anybody so far. Trying to do something like that for life itself is a lot more difficult, because I'm not outside the system of life. Nobody's outside the system of life. I haven't mastered life. Life is messy. I'm still in the middle of it, right? But I could look at a graduated process that I've been through multiple times, and I've helped other people through. And I said, maybe I can use that. So I'm trying that belt system thing, see what happens. So the white belt is the breathing. You start there. That if you are willing to set your timer for the top of the hour, and every hour you do 60 seconds of deep, slow diaphragmatic breathing, the number of different things that accomplishes, I could go on and on. Maybe I should talk about why that's a first step. First of all, it engages the physiology, and the breathing is one of the very few things that is both totally it is both voluntary and autonomic. If you don't think about it, you breathe. If you think about it, you can control your breathing right up to the point that you pass out. Okay, you can't hold your breath until you die. Your body will knock you out and go on automatic. So that's the second thing, really. You're getting in touch with your survival drive. People often have this thing about, how do you stay motivated? I stay motivated because I know how anything I'm doing connects to my survival drive. It's really simple. It's either, and survival drive is that belly brain stuff. It's either personal survival, reproductive survival, like your children, your family, or social survival, just protecting your tribe and your status within the tribe. That everything you do is going to connect to one of those three things, really, or why are you doing it? I mean, seriously. Now, maybe you could say, well, there's self-expression. Self-expression is actually a lot higher up on the tree. It's a lot further from the root, unless you're doing self-expression for money, or unless you're doing self-expression specifically to benefit your tribe or whatever. So just writing or doing music or dancing for self-expression works for people who have an automatic connection, for instance, to their child selves, where they're willing to protect their child self's right to play. I'm doing it for my internal family. You want to see how anything you're doing connects to that basic stuff. You do that, the thing about, first it's the what. You have to know what it is that you want. Secondly, it's the why. Why do you want to do it? And the how to do it is relatively easy. So we're looking at this stuff, and I'm looking at it this morning and saying that it's that breathing thing. If another thing, so another thing that breathing does is that the Russian idea about every movement, every action having three aspects, breath, movement, and structure. The quality of the breath, the way the body is moving, and the alignment of the skeleton. Okay, so like the muscles, the breathing, the skeletal structure, that all movements relate to those three things. But they also say that stress strain thing, that it is not stress that hurts us, that stress is this, it's pressure per unit area, but strain is this, deformation per unit length. This is what hurts you, not the stress. Stress is a trigger. Stress is a message that your body has to get stronger. And as long as it does not become strain, you grow. You grow, you will absolutely grow. So if you breathe as if you are calm, your hindbrain believes you are calm, and you're not getting random fear messages. From that place, you can sit as if you're in the center of the storm, and you can observe what is going on. And from that position, you can make the best decisions to survive or to thrive. But panic doesn't help anybody. In any situation where there is danger and people are panicking, you look for the person who's calm, and you follow them. The person who's calm is the one who can see where the exit is. Okay. You don't, the people that are screaming and running around, they need somebody to help them, because they need to calm down. And everybody kind of screams and runs around sometime, and everybody has the capacity to be calm at others. So we need each other. Nobody is good in all contexts. So back to sitting this morning, meditating until I knew what I wanted to talk to you about. And it seemed to me that if we're starting with this notion of doing 1 minute, 60 seconds of breathing 5 times a day, that we could talk about that, and how to deepen that. And the way to deepen that, there's a very nice feedback loop that we could discuss. There's lots of hidden aspects to the 5-minute miracle. There really are. Put a lot of thought into this, and then a lot of experimentation into it before I gave this to you. So that first session during the day, you deepen it. You stay there for more than 60 seconds. This is how once you have it integrated 5 times a day, you take the first one and you expand it outwards. And what you'll notice is that as you try to stay there for longer periods of time, the voices in your head will go crazy. Your sensations will go crazy. All sorts of random sensations will come to you, random voices, memories, things you think you have to do. You have to scratch your butt. You have to scratch your cat's butt. I mean, this is what happens. And if you can develop a part of you that can sort of observe what you're going through, you will learn exactly how you have stopped yourself from accomplishing everything you've ever tried to do in your entire life. Suddenly, you were supposed to be doing this, and you needed to scratch your cat's butt. Suddenly, you're going to do this, and you have to do this over here, and you're getting tired. Oh, God, I need to lay down. Oh, I need to get a glass of water. Oh. And you'll notice this within a couple of minutes. You'll start seeing this stuff come up. And as you play with this, you'll notice that there are kind of valleys and troughs, that it'll get worse, and then you're at a kind of a clear space. Maybe like 3 minutes in, there's a little bit of clarity, and then it'll get bad again, and then 8 more minutes in, you get a little bit of clarity, a little deeper clarity. And you'll start noticing that there are these cycles of all of the chatter in your head and all the sensation, all the memory, the other things you have to do, punctuated by moments of peace, of calm, where you're going deeper. So you could literally look at it like you have to dig down, and if you dig down far enough, you find a thread of gold. Then you exhaust that gold, and you have to keep digging, and you'll find a wider thread of gold, and you're able to tap into more of that. But then that runs out, and you have to dig down deeper. Eventually, you will get to a place where there is solid gold. But that can take a very long time. You can get there, and your mind will throw you back out of it. There's no way to meditate once and for all. This is a daily process of cleaning the lens of your perception. Now, if you do this in the morning, when you're doing your 4 more 60-second breaks later in the day, you will find that when you did the longer break early in the morning, when you're first waking up, you're digging down, and you start being more familiar with what that feels like to have that sense of peace and calm, and sitting in the middle of the rainbow, or sitting in the middle of the hurricane, the eye of the storm. You know what that eye of the storm feeling is. So during your other breathing breaks, you can get there faster. And by doing that 5 times a day, 4 more times a day, or 5 times a day total for your things, you are practicing shifting into that calm state. The practice during the day has feedback to what you're doing in the morning. You do that for a week, and you start finding that in the morning it's easier for you to get into it because you've been practicing it all day, right? You can go even deeper. The deeper you go, the more you kind of find out what that tuning fork is. What's that feeling right there? And then when you're doing your breathing breaks later in the day, if you're driving, don't do this, of course. But if you can close your eyes and center yourself, and just kind of say, what's that feeling? Let me breathe. Let me feel my heartbeat. Let me feel my breathing. Maybe there's light in my head. I kind of have a different signal from each of the 3 major centers. Breathing into the belly brain, heart for my heart chakra, and then light of some kind, or visualization. And that can vary and should vary. You should try different things. Ideally, you keep a journal. How did it feel today when I did this? How did I feel when I did this? You do that for several months, and you'll be able to go back through that journal and see patterns. And if you keep a journal, and every day you write in it, what your appointments are, who people you're going to see, things you need to do. You can also write in your journal if you're trying to control your energy, trying to up your energy, which is a great basic goal to have, just doubling my energy. You might do an online journal, and use your smartphone and take a picture of everything you eat that day. You don't have to control it. You don't have to write it down. You just have to be conscious about it. I'm not asking you to control your calories. If you just take a picture of everything you eat all day, you will eat less because you understand that the part of you that is like always eating, always eating, always eating, that's a survival thing. You start engaging your frontal lobes and say, let me just take my phone before I eat this burger. Let me take a picture of it. Or before I order this burger, let me take a picture of it. Just that pause, just thinking about it will get you to the point where you're thinking, my intent is happiness and avoidance of pain. Will this help me? And in many cases, food is great. Food never disappoints. It's like if you have an emotional connection to a particular kind of food, it's great to have food. I totally empathize with that. So you want to be sure, does this help me both short and long term? Sometimes eating cotton candy at the fair with your nieces and nephews is a great thing to do because you're having a family experience. It's fun. You're going back into that kind of kid place inside you. It's not that you can't do the fun stuff. It's that you're sure that the fun stuff is balanced with the work stuff. That's all. And you get to decide what that balance is. I can't decide it for you. I just want you to be conscious when it's time for you to be conscious so that you can go unconscious when it's time to just flow and have fun. But you know that you're going to be okay. It's like drilling in the gym, and then you get in the ring, and they say everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the nose. Then who you really are comes out. So you want to control it because every day life is going to hit you in the nose. You're going to have your good plans, and then you're going to go out into the world and try to do it, and then things are going to go wrong. And it's how quickly you recover from the imbalance that will, it's one of the things that's going to really determine the quality of your life. One of the things I do every day is not every day, no, that's a lie. Let me say that. The things that is on my schedule to do every week, and I'd like to do it 3 times a week, is literally practice falling. There are 6 ways of falling, ground engagement, as Scott Simon says, and that to do them in order moves your body through all the different ranges of movement and all the different movement potentials except pulling. And that doing them in order is like solving the Rubik's Cube with your body. They're different ways of moving. But in addition to the general neurological acceleration and the general fitness, because doing that, if you could do that 5 times in a row for 5 minutes, you are fit. I mean, seriously. It's like looking at the Harvard step test and going backwards from it, but that's another subject. The thing that's so important about Flow Fit 2 is not that it's great neurologically. It's not that it is a real stressor cardiovascularly. It's that, you know something? You're going to fall. I'm going to fall. There's no doubt in my mind that between now and the time I die, I am going to fall. I'm going to slip on some ice or on wet ground, or I'm going to trip over something. I am going to fall. And if you take a look at mortality statistics, people falling, breaking a bone, getting pneumonia, and never recovering is absolutely one of the most common ways that people die. So by being aware of that and saying, what can I do to help, how can I prepare for this? What is falling in other arenas of your life? You're going to get into arguments with your wife or your husband. You're going to feel depressed and like you don't want to do the work. It's on the emotional level. You're going to be angry and afraid about things you can't do. You watched the debate or something. It's like, oh my God, catastrophic thinking. You're going to be broke. Bills are going to come due unexpectedly. The tax people are going to come and knock on your door. These things happen. And if you know they're going to happen, what can you do to prepare for them? Well, I can tell you one thing you could do. You can practice a reintegrative process that keeps stress from becoming strain. And that's what you're doing 5 times a day. When that tax man knocks on the door and says, we're going to take your car if you don't come up with X amount of money in 24 hours, breathe. When you're getting into a screaming fight with somebody and you can feel yourself starting to lose it, breathe. When you watch some political event and you feel like the world is falling apart, is there anything you can do to stop the world from falling apart right now? If there is, do it. That's the proper use of the emotion. If you can't do it, if you can't do anything about it right then, breathe. It's as simple as that. If you know beyond any doubt that within the next year, bad things are going to happen to you that are going to knock you completely for a loop. You're going to have all these wonderful plans and you're going to get knocked off of there. Raise your hand if you've ever had good plans and life stress knocked you off the path. Just raise your hand. The rest of y'all are lying. Get those hands up. Everybody, yeah, absolutely. So the breathing is the beginning point for all sorts of reasons, including the fact that it is absolutely inevitable that you are going to be so stressed out that you lose your mind at some point. Just that's not major. You'll reintegrate, you'll get back. But who has ever? I remember I had a rental car, parked in a parking lot. And I came down out of a meeting and there was a big dent in the door. Somebody had smacked into my rental car. This was 20 years ago. I can still remember it because I went into a fugue state. It's like I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I couldn't understand where I was. My brain was not working, which is, by the way, one of the things that is happening, I believe is happening in every zombie movie, which is why in zombie movies, people do so many stupid things, because I believe that they have simply gone out of their mind. So that's what I always look at. Well, you're going to go out of your mind. Something is going to go that bad. When that happens, I guarantee you, your breathing will shift. Your breathing will shift into an unresourceful state. There's a place you're going to go into when you're in that shocky fugue state breathing. And there's a way that you breathe when you are calm and dealing with the issues. And what you want is to always be calm. Mugger steps out, knife at your throat, be calm. You're in the middle of you wake up and the bedroom is on fire, stay calm. Take effective action. So that's why we start with the body, because the body affects the mind in ways that the mind does not affect the body. If you start there, then your root is strong, and you can go from there to opening your heart. If your survival drive is open, you can open your heart. And if your heart and your survival drive are open, it is my observation, and I'm still testing this to be sure that I believe this, but at this moment, I believe it. If you can awaken your survival drive and then open your heart to love, you will automatically develop your mind, because your mind is going to do all it can to. Your mind is basically a problem solver. Intelligence is problem solving. And if you are committed to moving away from pain because of your survival drive and embracing joy because your heart is open, then your mind is constantly being asked, how can I make the best choices of what there is to do right now? You guys decided that a really good choice for you is coming and playing with me today. That's fantastic. If on a day when that's not true, you will go and do something else. I take it very seriously that you decided to be here with me, and I will always do everything I can to live up to the obligation of, I don't care about your money. So even if this was a paid seminar, that's not my obligation to you. My obligation to you would not be to give you your money's worth. My obligation would be to give you your time and energy worth, because your time can't be replaced. Your money can be replaced. Your time and your energy and that storehouse of trust you have, it's very difficult to replace. So given the things that I was talking about now, let's kind of open the door. Like I said, I'm on vacation. For those of you who are coming late, let me give you another view of what we've got here. This is we're in Oceanside, California. That is my grand puppy right there. And here let's see. Yeah. It's my daughter. There's Tananari. There's the ocean. And we're just having our family vacation. This is my opportunity. I like to do this once a year, is to rent someplace really nice and just invite family and sometimes a few really close friends. And we spend a few days kind of celebrating and rejoicing and giving thanks for the blessing that is life. I feel so blessed right now. This moment right now in my life, yeah, I don't know what's coming next, but this moment, my body works fine, my heart works fine, my mind works fine. The people I care about are alive. I got to see, Larry Niven on Monday, and he's happy with the book we're working on, and I've got multiple projects that are going. I almost filled a whiteboard with different cards of the different projects. I got to get that out of my head so that I can see what there is. And one of the things that happens there is, no, I'm not hallucinating. There really is a lot going on. If I'm feeling stressed right now, it's not surprising. It's not surprising. Give yourself a break. I'm here on my vacation, my first day here. I wanted to sleep. Let me nap, And of course, in the back of my head, oh God, Steve, you're getting old. It's this and that, this and that. That's beside the point. I really am pushing really hard. And when you're pushing really hard, you need to chill. So let's bring some comments, questions, requests, observations, anything into the space so that we can make the theoretical teachings dynamic and practical. So any comments, questions, or requests about anything that I've said today or in past weeks, things that you would like to bring into this space. And I see all your beautiful faces, wondering whether or not I'm going to call on you. Yes. And it's Maggie.
Hi. Hi. I was reading your can I see both of us? There. I was reading your the little writing that you put in with your Zoom link. And it really struck me because of something that happened to me a couple weeks ago. I came home from an exciting but stressful conference, and I was drained. I was completely drained, and Mark was drained, and he went and took a nap, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to go to my workspace, and I started to kind of clean up some things, and I discovered that a precious object of mine had been invaded by moths and was literally destroyed. And I fell apart. I completely fell apart. Okay, it turned out it wasn't completely destroyed, but it certainly looked at it like it from where I was. And I just lost it completely. I was gone. I was going to die. I was in a dark night of the soul. I had bought this fur coat when I was 16 years old with my allowance money. And it's a lamb, so it was grown and eaten and then made into coats. Anybody worried about that? So I was crying and screaming and trying not to wake up Mark, and I was just lost it completely. But I had it together enough to write a note to my former counselor, my former therapist, who had disappeared during COVID. And then I sat back and I thought, okay, I feel like I just want to die. I certainly don't want to kill myself. Why don't I want to die? And I thought about it for a while, and I realized that if I died, who would take care of Mark? And that I cared more about his being okay than I cared about this thing. It was a thing. It wasn't a person. It wasn't.
Let me ask you a question.
Thing.
Let me ask you a question.
Anyway, I healed
what
myself.
did it mean? What did the destruction of this object mean about you?
It meant I cannot take care of things.
So that diminished your belief in yourself and your sense of self-worth.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it made it difficult for you to leverage yourself to feeling precious and like you deserve to be alive. But you still love Mark, so you're able to motivate yourself by taking care of somebody else, even though the thing that had happened had diminished your sense of self. So
Mhm.
it's perfectly fine. I don't care. It could be that I need to feed the cat. I need to water the plants. Connection to other living things. That's part of our tribe. It's still in the belly brain. Belly brain is personal survival, genetic survival, like children, and tribal survival. Okay. So anything in there will keep you going. Okay. The more direct it is, the easier it is to motivate yourself. But you switched from caring about yourself, which you were temporarily in that you stupid idiot place. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You're no good. All those voices in your head. And you were able to cut through that with your caring for Mark, which of course, one of the things that means is you really love the guy.
I really do.
Yeah, you
So
really
I
do.
wanted
That's
to share
beautiful.
that because I felt like I had taken care of myself. I had the experience and it was true and it was raw. And then I found that way of, like you said, I found that way of I don't know, switching what I was thinking, whatever it is you're saying. And it was so, it was like, okay, less than 2 hours and I'm better. And the last time this happened to me, it took 2 days. So I feel like I'm making real progress. And I
That
just
is real
want
progress.
to
It's enormous
share that
progress.
with people and that
Congratulations. I mean,
you can do it
seriously.
too.
Now, the note that you were talking about is my decision that I had been upset about something and it lasted the rest of the day. I mean, I wasn't unhappy. I was just a little removed. And my family noticed because I'm ordinarily obnoxiously enthusiastic. And I decided that it's good to get myself to the point. I know that by the time I wake up in the morning, I will always feel better, but that's not good enough. And so it's like, okay, how about I give myself an hour to grieve, to feel my needy, wounded, abandoned child's, to be able to go into that space. But then at the top of the hour, the next top of the hour, I have to do my breathing and reintegrate. So I let myself really feel it. And then I have to stop and get on with life, which gives me a maximum of an hour and 59 minutes and a minimum of 60 minutes of 60 minutes in order to reintegrate, to actually have time to feel sorry for myself. Ultimately, it's good to feel sorry for yourself, to acknowledge the emotions, but you also have to get on with life. So by making a decision, you decide how, when the next 99% of the time, there's always going to be things that are you're going to get knocked completely for a loop. But most upsets, looking back over your life, how long do you want to give yourself to get in there, to really dig around, to roll around in the emotions? Make the conscious decision when you're not in that place. And then give yourself that time. Apparently one philosophy that I've seen people say is they give themselves 20 minutes. Okay, maybe I'll get down to that. I don't know. But you get to decide. But then when you're upset, really be upset. And the thing is, if you do that, the absurdity of it will get to you pretty fast. If you say, I've got an hour to be miserable, by the time 10 or 15 minutes is by, you're sick of being miserable. You have the total right to be miserable, but do you want to be miserable? No, what you want is to be happy. You hang on to your misery. We hang on to negative emotions partially because we believe they will protect us. And oftentimes they do protect us. But there are other times when our negative emotions will hurt us, will stop us from being able to enjoy life. People destroy their emotional relationships, destroy their bodies, destroy their careers because they stay too long in those emotional states. Other people start losing their joy in life because they don't let themselves feel their emotions. So if that idea is appealing to you, fantastic. And the fact that you got yourself out of it rapidly is absolutely 100% sign of positive growth. Good for you, Meg.
you know, you reminded me that what really pulled me out finally was the knowledge that I needed to make dinner for Mark because he did not deserve to go hungry because I was. So thank you very much.
Whatever it takes, darling. Thank you for sharing. All right. So I think we have Ross here, don't we? Ross. Ross. Where is Ross?
And working, trying to get the buttons, and my nerves, my tremors are acting up. Hello. I'm here.
Hi,
Test,
Ross.
test.
Yeah.
There we are.
So what's up, buddy?
A couple things. I had been hitting some low spots. Couple things I learned and or picked up this week that are kind of helping me out of them. One, when you have become so used to abuse that even a reduction of to do some deeper looking. And two, after following up with some physical stuff, my doctor said add another 1,000 units of vitamin D3 every day. And I have been doing that. Today is day 4 of that. And it's actually working.
Good.
The lows are not as low.
Fantastic, Ross. That's great.
So
what can we do to support you?
wish me happy birthday tomorrow. I
Your
turned
birthday is
61.
tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I would like everybody to sing happy birthday to Ross. One,
This is going to
two,
be best.
3. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, dear
dear
Ross.
Ross.
Happy birthday to
Happy
you.
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
Over
you.
there
And many more.
Many, many
Happy
over
more.
in
birthday.
chat, love him up. Ross is a good guy. Wish him a lot of birthday stuff, and get his email address so you can send him an e-card or whatever it is. But congratulations, Ross. I'm glad you're still here, buddy. All right, so Kristen Pelfrey.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for taking time during your vacation to do this.
My pleasure.
I am a teacher 37 years in the public high school, and I've always been a teacher who writes, and I'm trying to frame it now as being a writer who teaches. And everything you said about the despair and the stress, teachers, we are I love my students so much, and interacting with them is a privilege and a joy. And but the system, I've been fighting the system since 1987. And that energy is not giving back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Writing curriculum that engages kids has been my life's work, and it's been amazing. And always I have my stories, right? But writing creative curriculum, I believe, is creative writing. And I'm at the point where, that short film Godzilla versus Bambi, I'm Bambi right now.
Yeah.
Where
Okay. So
help me.
that's the first thing that you need to do is to bare your teeth. You're not Bambi. You're actually Godzilla. Okay. Or you are the system of Bambi and Godzilla. However you want to look at it,
Right.
that is empowering to you. That's the only thing. I'm being a little facetious here because Bambi and Godzilla obviously live in sort of different worlds.
Right.
So the real question is, you're feeling stressed, and the same thing that I said to Megan about how she reacted to the moth-eaten thing, that the trick is to get in touch with your survival drive.
Mhm.
That's the first step, to get in touch with the part of you that says, looks at the world and says, I am that bitch. And it's like,
I am.
that's right. Come on, say it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Are. And the thing is that if you have chosen to give your love to these students, and the system is the system that you use in order to, for support, you chose this. Okay. You're never going to get rich there. Okay. Because there is a safety net. The reason you're never going to get rich there is that there's not that much gap between the best teachers and the worst teachers.
Right.
Okay. If you're going to make a lot of money, you have to go into a profession in which the worst get paid a fraction of what the best get paid.
Right.
Okay, that's universal. There's no way to make a lot of money except in the arenas in which you can fail and fail hard, and everybody knows that you fail. So if you decide to teach as your dharma, this is my gift I'm giving to the world. Now it's a thing of beauty. Okay. If you're making in the stress, being able to survive in that stress is an act of power. And you are a warrior for the future. You are finding gold inside these kids, and you're showing them how to tap into that for themselves. And it's different. That's different. You can shift to the point where you know you're going to run, you know that you're going to run into people who don't care, you know that you're not going to have the resource, but you have decided to do this for some personal reason, that you get something, just like I get something out of being here. I don't get a dime for this, although I do talk about, www.lifewritingpremium.com or firedancetaichi.com. Those are the products that I sell that relate to the philosophies here. But no one has to buy any of those products in order to be on here and for me to love you guys hugely, because I make my money writing. Okay. I have fun teaching. The money I make teaching is likely to go, it's likely to go into the fund that I give away every Christmas. Is your sound on, Kristen?
Oh, I was going to say, I need to do better at channeling, like, okay, when I'm in my classroom, my rule is love them all no matter what, and run it like football practice, and emphasize you are all creative spirits, in spite of the fact that increasingly I'm given worksheets, which the rage, right? Ain't no one ever inspired by a worksheet. So I need to do better at, okay, admin, here's my rage, because I have been fighting. Like, I am very vocal, and I'll say, you're not doing right by these children. You're doing wrong. And I want to do right.
Yes.
So keeping all of these, the fire for, but boundaries, keeping it appropriate and saying, you may not do this to this child, and to the kids, we are in this together. Let's play. We're going to read.
Okay, so here's what I saw. When you talked about that, your hands were shaking.
Yeah.
You actually, you've got fear about not being able to take care of them, fear that you're not going to be able to shepherd them properly, fear of this system that, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to hurt these kids? What's going on? Whatever that is, I can see that, and that is sincere. So it's really critical for you to deliberately every day shift yourself into the eye of the storm. The storm ain't going away. And sometimes the eye is so small that it's hard to find it. But that has to be your thing, because your kids are praying that you are going to help them find a way to navigate the adult world with integrity. They're asking the question, is it possible for me to grow up and also have fun?
Yes.
If you can show them that, okay, you take a look at we're teaching to this sheet, we're doing this, we're doing that, but you and I both know that life cannot be reduced to a sheet. But sometimes your boss will say, do this stuff, and you've got to do it anyway. So how do you teach to the test? How do you take a test? How do you do the sheet, but still learn the things you really need to learn to go out into the world? So we're going to use these strictures as a way to teach ourselves how to navigate the nonsense rules of the adult world with a grain of salt and a smile, and never, ever, ever let it beat you. So if you can do that, and you can share your journey with them, you will become one of the teachers they remember for the rest of their lives, because you told them the truth. and you told them how to win a game that is a false game in a way that allows them to simultaneously gain the skills to win the real game. If you can do that, if you can tell them the truth about your anger, this and this, and
Oh, I
now
do.
you
I do. I'm just
now
trying to
show them your joy.
recharge myself, you know?
Have to show them your joy, because if
Yeah.
you don't show them your joy, you're going to convince them that entering the adult world is a matter of just pain and then pain and then pain, and they will reject it until it comes and eats them. It's like, I don't want to take those responsibilities. I don't want to join the herd of zombies out there. They want joy. They want to be happy. The meaning of life is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. That help them. If you can help them along that path with all that it implies, physical autonomy and being able to make money doing something they love, and the ability to get laid with integrity, and finding love, and being able to be a part of their community and raising a family and teaching
And
them
creating creating. Everybody
Yes.
has something to create. Everybody has a voice.
But remember, survival is going to come first. You have to teach them to survive. There is no joy in poverty. Okay. So if you look at that and you can, look, this is the way I look at it. All I can do is honestly tell you how I look at it. You're gonna do your own thing, and I get that. But in order for me to speak spontaneously, I have to have your permission, which is kind of implicit, to treat you like an adult, and therefore say, this is the way I see it, and I have to trust that you are going to interpret what I'm saying so it fits for you. But what I'm saying is that there is a process, whether you're looking at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, or the yogic chakras, or Milton Erickson's think about what comes next, or the three centers. First, survival. If you can't survive, you are going, if you cannot find a way to survive with integrity, you're going to either not be able to survive, or you're going to survive in a way that tests your integrity. If you cannot find a way to discipline yourself to do the things you need to do every day, chop wood, carry water, so you've got water and you've got wood, when it's cold, you can cook your food. There are certain things you have to do. Creativity is a higher level. If you look at Abraham Maslow, first survival, creativity comes later. In the three centers, it's the first center is survival. Literally survival. You project such open-heartedness, and you seem like a lovely person. You seem like a genuinely lovely person. Be sure you are also a bitch, because you're all that's protecting those kids.
Yeah.
And those kids are going to need to stay kids as long as they can, so they can keep their doors of imprintation open and they can play with each other, which is when they're learning most rapidly. We all know that. But they also are going to have to take that step into the adult world if they have, because they have their sexual needs. They're all descended from people who had sex and babies. So they're programmed with that. Even, if they decide to be gay or they're trans, whatever, that doesn't stop that core programming from still operating in so many of us. We want sex. We want to have healthy, responsible sexual relationships. This leads to pair bonding. This leads to children and nest building. Okay. Or nest building should, ideally, the ability to build a nest, for them, should come before sex. Somebody asking me, I knew my daughter would eventually ask me, when is it okay for me to step across that line? And I said, when you can organize your mind and your heart and your physical energies to create goods and services that you can exchange with your community in a legal, ethical way to support yourself, you are ready to make an adult decision. And sex is an adult decision. So what your kids want to know is, how do we become adults? Creativity is fantastic. As somebody who put a tremendous amount of my life and my thought into how do I be creative and simultaneously raise a family? What do I do? And I can tell you that one of my philosophies on this was, this is the circle of the stuff I want to write. This is the circle of the stuff I think people will pay for. I look for where these two circles overlap. And considering you only need a couple thousand real fans to make a basic living, it works. All you have to do is tell the truth about how, let your art stem from your truth, and you are providing a valid perspective that there are going to be people who need your perspective, that you can create stories, teachings for anyone who's like you, who has not had your experiences. So most of my teachings are directed at a younger version of me. What is it that I wish I could have heard 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago? And that's all I'm doing. You guys, in other words, are really just sitting in on a private conversation I'm having between me and my younger self. Okay. I am saying the things to you that I wish somebody had said to me, or the things that I need to remind myself of. And sometimes to my daughter, come over here, Nikki, come over here. Sit over my shoulder, just a moment, and say hi to people. This is my darling daughter, Nikki, who I love completely, who I am so glad came up to be with me today. And that's all. You can go now. It's my baby girl. I love my baby girl. Anyway, so you figure out how to face the challenges ain't gonna go away. Everybody's doing the best they can. I think in my book, the biggest problem with education is that we have no agreement on what it is we're supposed to be educating people to. If you talk to 100 different people and get them to write a 100-word essay, what should we be teaching our children and why? You'll get 100 different answers. So the horses are pulling in 100 different directions. It's amazing that the system works as well as it does. But you need to have a clear idea, given this territory, what is it you're going to give to your kids? What is education? What is life? You work those things out and remember the purpose of life: escape suffering, embrace joy, be of service. If they see that you have done it, they will come to your class for the academic subject, but they will stay and remember you for your heart and what you gave them and how you made them feel about themselves, the faith you gave them in their future. Do that, and you have done God's work. You have done holy work. You are part of an unbroken chain of adults who've mentored children and prepared them to be adults themselves. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's what, I say I'm your number one cheerleader. I believe in you. Now let's step up, because we can play and step up. Those aren't.
There you go. Keep it up. And if there's anything we can do to support you, just let us know.
I
Okay?
very much appreciate it. Thank you.
There's nothing more important than teaching. Nothing. But it's never going to be paid that way, because teachers have a safety net. So there's also a ceiling. So if you decide to write books on teaching, now you're in an arena where you can see who make the big bucks. But teaching is never going to do that for you. Okay. Take care. All right. Let's see who's next. Okay, Otis Johnson. Hello, Otis. Get on here with your bad self. Huh?
Unmuted. Okay, good. Hey, man. What was I going to say? Yeah, actually, I just left the educator game, and I see where the lady's coming from, and it's great. I mean, I've given a lot to the kids, but it's great to say at some point, it's like, we're going to start giving to ourselves now. And
No, let me stop you there. Giving to your kids should be giving to yourself.
Right.
Don't wait. Give to yourself every day. The kid, you fill your own cup every day, and you feed the people around you from your fullness. Don't be a bucket. Be a hose. Okay.
Right.
Connect yourself to the core of your source every day. Because once again, if you teach from your deficit, or you give your family from your deficit, you are teaching them to give from their deficit. Now you got a chain of pain. On the other hand, if you are giving to them out of your joy, of course, everybody's going to feel tired at times and, depressed at times and off center and so forth. But you got that reintegrative process. Let me get back to being, who am I? Who am I? I am that bitch. You just remember, my family needs me to be that bitch. I got to be in my family. My son and my daughter can feel it. And my wife, they can feel it. I don't have to be unpleasant. I can just be a little quieter. and they'll notice that something is wrong with dad. Because in a world, a, a stream can flow into a cesspool and stay clean if the stream is flowing in with current, with power. Okay. The instant you let the cesspool back up into you, you're no longer clean. So the way of dealing with an imperfect world is you keep your chi power, your ki, your energy, your attention flowing outwards. And it's at a pace that you can sustain. It's kind of a strolling pace. You just kind of,
Right.
yeah, I'm bad. It's kind of
Right.
strolling, but you do, like in martial arts, for instance, there are a lot of arts where you'll practice them slowly and gradually, but you connect them to your breathing, your heartbeat, and your emotions. And then in a case of an emergency, you get an adrenaline boost, and those slow motions become fast motions.
Right.
Okay.
No,
Now you have to practice that, but that is the theory.
no, we're talking about students now, not family students. And boy, did they, I was working with special ed kids and they just got the baddest mofos on the planet and gave them to me, the hard little gangsters, everybody, but we did a good job with them. Like I said, retiring now and feel good about it and feel like I did a service to the
Good.
community with that one.
Well, you did. And so now what's the reward for you?
Right. The reward is this, and the reward is also what I wanted to bring up. I talked to Steve Bott a couple weeks ago about life balance in general. And I'm balancing like basically the biggest music DJ show I've ever had in my life. I'm going to be on the stage at like basically the Palace. You remember the Hollywood Palace?
Yes.
I'm going to be on stage there with like worldwide people, and I'm working my butt off and practicing my butt off. But I wanted to keep this writing alive and all of that. I asked Steve Bott about work-life balance, about like balancing
And what
two
did it say?
work forms. What's
What,
that?
what did I say?
Yeah. No, Steve Bott told me to make sure and practice with whatever it was that was the less dominant one, to do like measurable units every day so that I didn't lose it.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
sounds like me. So by the way,
yeah,
this bot is an AI that I created. I have over 2 million words of my teaching in there, and you can reach it at talksteve.com. It's right now, it's totally free. It's just right there for anybody who wants to use it. I'm still testing it, so forth. Um, and I'm really happy with it. But you can do that. And I also want to repeat that from now on, you should be able to get here just with the firedance.com. You won't, that link is going to
right,
get here from now on. So you can spread that to your friends, tell them when it is, Saturdays at noon. I'm going to be
right,
guest honor at Salt Lake City, WesterCon next week. And I told them, you got to clear my space at noon. I'll do a broadcast and allow people to be in the room at the same time. But you guys are important. I'm going to do all in my power to be here for you every week to support you. If you guys will support each other, if you will support each other, which you are doing in chat,
right.
the energy is going at this point. So this is when it gets exciting for me. So I did not know what I wanted to do with Steve, with Steve E, the Steve AI. But
Right.
one of the things I want to do is just give it to you guys. I'm paying for it every month, but I want you to have access. And if there are questions that you want answered and it's not answering them right, send those questions to me. I will answer them, program them right into the AI, and you're helping me. You're helping me help you. You're
Yeah,
helping
it
me.
sounded like you. Yeah,
Yeah. Now it's not as warm and wacky as I am, and it's
right.
certainly not as good looking as I am, but it has the basic information. After 2 million words, I start repeating myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. And it
So
doesn't have your emotion chip.
that's right. It doesn't have my emotion chip, but we can start making it sound more conversational. And that's just a matter of the training. So I'm glad. Is there anything specifically I can do for you?
No, that was it. I just kind of like, I wanted to bring up what it said and maybe bounce it off you. And it seems like exactly what you would have said.
You know,
Yeah,
you do everything you put, white belt level is you do the breathing. Yellow belt level is you create goals in all three major areas of your life and break them into the magic formula. Green belt level is you integrate the magic formula into a morning ritual. Okay, so you expand one of those breathing breaks into a morning ritual where you are breathing, visualizing affirmations while in motion. I use Tai Chi. Other things are possible. www.firedancetaichi.com. So and then the brown and black belt level, you're starting to integrate Think and Grow Rich. And I've chosen that because money, you guys tend to be fairly healthy in a lot of ways, So I think that for a lot of you, just give you more money and a lot of things in life would work just great. If you have other problems that cannot be addressed with those formulas, let me know and we'll brainstorm on these things together. If I don't have an answer, my answers are not necessarily accurate. They're not necessarily going to work, but you will always hear the best answer I've got.
You told me I look younger and happier.
Is that your lovely wife?
Yeah, she's back here.
Okay. Hi there.
Hi.
That's great. That's great. Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's see who else I can help today. All right. So, Suzanne Paul.
You can get unmuted here.
Yes.
I-
How are you doing?
I am doing fine. I missed a couple of weeks because I was on vacation.
Oh, that's not
And
missing. I mean, that's that's fantastic. Bring that energy in. That's great.
yeah, I went back to Indiana, visited with my family. That was really nice. But I knew what I was afraid would happened, and I got off track while I was on vacation because I wasn't doing all my steps. And so now I'm trying
You
to
mean
finish my
literally your cardiac steps?
Oh no, I mean in terms of I kind of slacked off on my breathing. I wasn't
Oh,
doing my two
got it.
sentences a day. I wasn't
You only have to
I
do
wasn't
one. You only have to do one. Just one sentence. One sentence a day. Okay. And do the breathing. So if you're writing student two, one sentence a day, breathe. And you were on vacation, forgive yourself, get back on the horse. Because it's really critical to do that, because the part of you that doesn't want to change will use things like this to prove to you that you can't do it, or that you shouldn't do it, or that you're not worth doing it. And so instead of that, laugh at it and say, well, I had a great vacation, back on the horse. So it's not that you're not going to get thrown, it's how rapidly do you reintegrate. Everybody gets thrown. Everybody gets thrown. The only people who don't get thrown are the people who are playing tic-tac-toe with their cat, because they win all the time. Okay? It's except that one cat, sneaky little bastard. If you are going for it in life, you're always pushing the limits. And that means you will fall down. You will fail. That is inevitable. You have to stay in the growth zone. And that means you're risking failure. That means that failure, like not breathing, not doing your writing, is simply a part of your learning process. Observe it. What does it mean? Oh, when I'm on vacation, I don't tend to do this as much. That's interesting. Well, let me ask myself, do I really want to take that time off? Or do I want to cut down to a minimum? Maybe no writing, but I do want to do my breathing. Or maybe as long as I remember to breathe once a day, it's just fun. You get to make those decisions, and then afterwards keep track. How did it work? And then you make adjustments. Okay. So it's a learning process. Not you judge yourself, but never you judge yourself the way you would a child who loves you and is trying to show off for you. What would you say to that child? Child stumbles, do you say bad baby? Or do you say good baby, nice try, that's great? Which one works?
Mm-hmm.
So you answer the question, which one works?
Oh, the supportive one.
That's right.
The love one.
That's right. Love works. That pain is only a motivator if you can clearly see the path to pleasure and believe in it. Then it motivates you. Let me get up and move in that direction. But if you're not sure that you can get to joy and you add pain to the equation, you will cause paralysis and loss of self-respect and you'll just sit shivering in the cold. I can't do it. I'm afraid to light the stove. I can't go out for wood. I hurt. I got a blister last time I tried to do that. You know, I almost started to fight. Those voices in your head. You are part of a process here. By addressing your physical, emotional, and mental aspects, you are working with the real question of who you are in some ways that most people don't. This is real work. Okay. So the fact that you did your vacation and you're right back on it, I say that's a win. What do you say? What do you say?
Yay!
Yeah, that's right. Fantastic. What can we do for you today?
You know, you can wish me a belated happy birthday.
Uh-oh.
Last Tuesday, I turned 61.
Well, happy birthday. And over there in chat, let's everybody love her up and wish her happy birthday. And you and Ross exchange happy birthday celebrations and good things. And what are you going to do to celebrate? And it should be at least something you do to celebrate should be something you loved doing as a kid that you don't let yourself do very often anymore.
Well, actually, my celebration was while I was on vacation in Indiana. I took
Good.
my niece to the art museum for the first time.
Fantastic.
She actually has a daughter, my great niece, and we were talking, and she said she had never made it to the art museum. I'm like, oh my goodness, how can you not have done that? So we went, we saw some wonderful exhibits. There was one about Afrofuturism that was really exciting for her. So yeah, I had a great birthday.
Fantastic. And many, many, many more. And just
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Get back on instead of a horse, get back on the pony.
Yeah.
It's a birthday pony. And celebrate. You get a whole month of birthday celebration.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
You bet. Take care. Move that spotlight. This is so much fun. So let's see. Oh, this guy that Nikki is there. Elizabeth, Mark Richter, Jocelyn Lofton, Lisa. So many interesting people here. Anybody want to raise your hand, volunteer, or you will be voluntold. Oh, oh God. I cracked myself up. Okay, so Nikki,
Hey,
hello, Nikki. How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys? Well, I know how you guys are doing. I'm just awkward.
Oh, it's okay. It's
I
okay.
am so things take as long as they take. And I think I've been working the Firedance program for about 18 months now. And finally, in the last week or two, creativity has started to happen. I've started getting ideas for things I can do along my path. It's not just, let's keep putting one foot in front of another. Like brainstorming is starting to happen and wacky brainstorming is beginning
Good.
to happen. And that's a part of my process I haven't had access to for at least
You
a few
haven't let yourself
years.
be wacky?
Huh?
You haven't let yourself be wacky?
No, I've been very low on silly goose energy for several years. And
Well, be silly. Be silly. You can on the rest of this.
yeah,
I need you to be silly. Big smile. Take
yeah.
put on
So
your clown makeup.
yeah, it's been a lot of silly goose. How hard can it be? Well, that guy did it, so maybe I can try it. So it's
Well,
a lot
it
of
is
that.
hard. Make no mistake, Nikki. It is hard. You're not hallucinating,
Yeah.
but it's also fun.
How hard can it be to try it and to see if I like it? And there's no downside to trying things and not liking them. I can just not do them again, or I can
That's right.
be a
And there's no
beginner. And
downside.
that kind of,
There's no downside to trying things and failing.
yeah,
You're just learning. You're just performing an experiment. Every day is another experiment. How do I live a high energy, positive lifestyle? I'll try this. I'll try this. I'll try this. I'll try this. And I notice the things that work, and I just keep collecting the things that work. That's it.
right. And like those little in Think and Grow Rich, they talk about turning it over to your subconscious, and your subconscious will start to deliver ideas to you for solving problems, or
Yes.
it's starting to happen. So,
So here, so let's see, you brought up Think and Grow Rich. Let's take a look at it. Tell me the 13 principles of Think and Grow Rich in order off the top of your head. Let's see how far you can get. Because this is critical. This is really important. You need to memorize this stuff. And don't
yeah,
worry, make it past another.
let's see where I'm at. Okay.
Yeah. I'll
I'm
stop
gonna
you
not, this is me not looking at where I have them written down, because I do.
Right. That's
I
right.
had them written down right there.
Good. Close your eyes. Let's hear. Start from the top.
Desire,
Amen.
faith,
Yes.
specialized knowledge feels like
No.
the next
Okay.
thing.
It's desire, then faith, and then auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggestion. Okay.
So that's critical.
And I have
Then
them in groups.
auto-suggestion is necessary to make sure that your internal emotions and beliefs and visions are
Mhm.
aligned with your actions and aligned with your ethics. You were in the military,
Yeah.
right? So you were taught about honor. Honor was very, very important. What else are you going to die for? The protecting your country, protecting the person on either side. You do your job. Doesn't matter what you feel like, you do your job. Right now, this next aspect of your job is to be happy, is to escape suffering, be happy, and be of service. You understand service. You understand, and you understand suffering. I want you to get into better touch with joy.
Yeah.
With
I've
joy.
stopped hazing myself, really.
There
is
you
what's
go.
happening.
There you go.
So
This is good, and I am honored to be of service to someone who was to my country. This is it's I love this. This is a special. I have a special love of the warriors of my tribe. Okay, so thank you for letting me help you. So
you're
it
welcome.
is have fun, be goofy, but remember it's serious. You're being goofy because goofy is going to get you the serious results better. Because it's the crazy idea. It's the idea no one else has ever thought of that's going to make the breakthrough for you. Okay, something you've never heard.
Yeah.
You have to synthesize all the different facts that you know about a situation, turn it over to your unconscious mind, because your conscious mind is not smart enough to do it. So what is the point at which that happens? I'll tell you. If you go from desire, you want to do something, you want to escape suffering, be joyful, be of service, embrace joy, be of service. You have faith that you can do this. Maybe it's like, well, I've seen other people do it. I've had it in the past, so I believe I can do this. You use auto-suggestion. You start, the yellow belt stuff, where you start building your daily ritual, where you're chanting and seeing your role models and so forth. And so you see the path in front of you, and it is lined by people cheering you on, people who believe in you and are saying, come on in, the water's fine. Whatever it is that motivates you, it has to motivate you to move away from the pain and toward the pleasure. Okay. You make sure that you can see that pleasure out there. Now specialized knowledge. Now you do your deep research. Okay. Once you're sure that you're aligned, that you know what you want and you're aligned, now you research your butt off until you could teach a college class in the subject that you want to enter into. Community college, doesn't have to be Harvard. And then you use imagination. You come up with ideas, tons of ideas, just every idea you can come up with, okay? And unconscious is involved in this. So make no mistake, it is involved, even though they bring it back in at step like 10 or 11. Imagination is also that.
It was just really, I feel like that's sort of where I'm straddling, right? Is sort of building that specialized knowledge, engaging the imagination, and starting to tap into a little mastermind. Like stuff really does start to flow, and I'm so grateful for it.
You can use
I
this
didn't have it for so long.
You can use this space to find mastermind partners, because they don't have to have the same external goals. Everyone here has the same internal goal, which is to move away from suffering, embrace joy, be of service. How you choose to do those things or the specific challenge you have is different. But we're talking about how do you be the best you can be? How can you problem solve? How can you live your life with joy? Whatever issues come in, like I said, that's going to be specific to you, to your time of life, to your circumstance. But the question of how do I be the best I can be? What is that? Who is that bitch? In other words, who is that? I know that in the course of your service, you found aspects of yourself you never knew were there. Did you not?
Yes, and I would counter with, for myself, I learned that there was more to me than the military life that I had been raised to want.
Yes.
So, so when you talk about saying I am that bitch, for me, that moment was leaving the military.
Got it.
So,
That's fine. That's
because that
fine.
was all I'd been trained for my entire life, and I
So
wanted more. I wanted different.
yes,
So, because
yes.
that's my autobiography.
See, but that's
So
beautiful. That's beautiful. You, as long as you hit that point where you are willing to fight to the death to protect your own heart and that
mhm.
little girl inside your heart, it sounds like that little girl was always told that she was not worthy unless she could be a fighter, a warrior. And that's all good. But you also
A
need
bully.
to just be a little, to just be
Yeah.
a sweetheart, soft, fluffy kitten of a little girl, in addition to also being capable of ripping someone's throat out with your teeth. To be both, to be both. And then ask what is appropriate right now. Most of the time, it's life's best when we're just kind of fluffy kittens, you know? But the
But
fluffy
I couldn't do
not
that
safe.
until I knew that I could protect myself.
Yes,
So
yes. I hope
I am
everybody repeat that. Repeat what you just said. Say it again.
I couldn't be the silly goose until I knew that my adult self could take care of business
That's right.
so that the little one could play.
You did not know that the little one inside you was not safe to play until her mother was willing to stand up and be a bitch. I'm out of here. This is who I am. I'm taking my heart. I'm taking my toys and I'm going to go play someplace else. So,
Can I tell you my standing in the middle of the street story?
please.
There's there's a big old knife sitting in my kitchen that I took from my father's house after he died. And that knife has been in his family for generations. And there was a moment when I was a teenager and I was being punished in a lot of unspeakable ways for a rebellion in which I chose myself and my own needs. And at a certain point, I pulled that knife out of the drawer and I put it on the table and I said, either slit my throat with this or get the fuck out of my way because you're wasting my time.
Yes. That was your moment.
So,
That was your
yeah.
moment. And
I'm
allow
capable
me
of
to
those
say,
moments, but I
allow me to
didn't
say,
know what I should do after them.
okay,
And so
after that
my
moment,
rebellious self got tired of me
what you
not
need,
having a
what you
plan.
needed to do, what you needed to do is to open your heart. Once you can defend yourself, then it is safe to open your heart. If you
Yeah.
can't defend yourself, you open your heart too soon, predators will imprint upon you the identity that is good for them. Okay. You are a warrior for your heart, a warrior for the little girl inside you. I want to see that sweetheart of a little girl. She's safe here. She's safe here because I love little girls. I adore girls. I would do anything to protect a little girl. So you're safe here. And because you are willing to get in touch with the predator part of you that recognizes when something is threatening one of her cubs. So you are both the mommy predator and the cub. Your job as mommy predator is to create a safe place for your cub to play. You do that. And now you've got your survival and you've got your heart. And it is my belief that anyone who has both of those will automatically get the other things. It's my belief that you've got the engine. And once you've got that, it'll start, it takes very little things like, the
I
three
just had
gate.
to have faith for long enough that it was going to
Yeah.
work, and it starts to, it really does.
So you
So
had no
thank
faith.
you.
You had the desire, but you didn't have the faith. Now you've got the desire and the faith. So now you're ready to move on. So, you want to check into your internal alignment. Am I standing on top of my heart? Am I in the right place? Is this flowing from the core of my being? And every word, do I feel safe to be me? Okay, good. Now let me learn as much as I can about the path that is in front of me, this thing that I want to do next. Okay. And let me generate tons of ideas. And then let me make plans. The plans are to daily perform experiments to test yourself. So every single day you have a theory, you have a hypothesis, you formulate an experiment to test your hypothesis, you perform the experiment, correlate your results, and if you get the good results, double down. If you didn't get the results, perform a different experiment. Shift your hypothesis slightly. You keep going, you keep going. Every single day, your job is to be happy. Survival, you got that knife, so you've got that covered. You're ready to die before you're going to let anybody hurt you in that way. I understand totally that. That is, you're my kind of human being. You understand, you get it. Okay. After that, it's what's next is to be joyful. Then you do those two things. And one of the ways you can be of service is by finding other people, other women perhaps, who've made similar choices and now are looking to find ways out of that trap. Perhaps, but the obstacle becomes the offering. That learning how to deal with whatever pains you've been given gives you a strength unknown. And if where you are right now, the woman you were 10 years ago, what would she have given to know what you know at this moment? Anything. So you now know how you could get rich if you really wanted to. You could literally just take what you've got now and know that there are a million other women who would give you $5 to know what you know. Because you're being honest. You're coming from that. The obstacle becomes the offering. You get what I'm talking about. All right. I am going to close this up just a little early so I can have the burger that my family got for me, and I can watch shark movies and, just have a good time today. But everybody unmute yourselves and say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. See you
Goodbye.
next week.
Bye, everybody.
Wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Bye.
Afternoon.
Bye. Have a great week.
I will see you all
Happy
from Salt
birthday to
Lake City.
everybody.
I'll see you from Salt Lake
Bye.
City next week.
Thanks.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. And as
Bye.
always,
Namaste.
always, the divinity within me salutes and acknowledges the divinity within each and every one of you.
Namaste.
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 Take care, guys.
Namaste.
I'll see you later.